now that we have that, if we go back to our page, we can finally write our query. So we want to find where user ID is user.id, like that. And now we have our analysis. But I just want to select the sentiment score and nothing else. I don't really care about anything else. And then I'll return the analysis. Then I'll also return the average analysis score. So average, or I guess sum would be analysis.reduce. What is this? All, and then like current. This will just be all plus current. So that'll add them all up. And then const would be average sum divided by analysis.length. And I'll just make sure that it is, we'll be optimists and round up. Cool. And our average. Operator plus can be applied to types number and, oh yeah, I guess I need to do that. Current dot sentiment score. There we go. All right, so we got that. Let's see what we broke here. Or average, and then analyses. Get data. Cool. And I'll just put the average in here. See what we get. And I'll just log the analysis. All right. Man, I haven't used reduce in a minute. Felt weird. Okay. And then we can go to history. Looks like it's working. It says 2. And then on the server side, we can see the analysis right here. So wow, he was really down bad on that first one. And then this was really good. Really happy. And then somewhere just slightly above neutral. I feel like everyone needs to shoot for 5 in life. You need to shoot for 5. Like this is, you're asking to let down at 8 and at 7, you probably need to check in somewhere. But at 5, that's healthy. So shoot for 5. Put that up on your wall in your office. Shoot for 5. All right, so we got that. Now let's make some charts. Let's make something out of this. So we're going to install a package called rechart. So npm install it's either rechart or recharts. I think it's plural. Watch it be rechart and someone else made something called recharts that's not this, and it's going to mess me up. Right? Isn't it always like that? Like, let's just go verify. It was definitely called, yeah, it's plural. Oh, okay. You just never know. You never know with people these days, man. Okay, so we're gonna make a chart, but a chart is mostly all client-side stuff, so we need a client component, so let's do that. I'm just gonna go to our component folder where we put pretty much all of our client components. But components can be server components too. It's not only pages. Yes. Oh, you want me to say that? Okay, yeah.
A question for you.
Okay.
Is it going to be a client component because of like interactivity, use of hooks, or is it a client component because it's pulling in a third-party library and at this stage?
That's a great question. Yeah, both. So it's a client component because it's pulling in a third-party library that I know is using interactivity as far as like hooks and stuff like that. So it just won't work unless you at least put client component on top of it. Yeah, it's a great question. So we'll make a history chart. History. charts.tsx here. We'll say use client. Cool. History chart. It's going to take in, some data. That's going to be the entries or the sentiment scores. Oh, I just realized I want to get the date of them too, so I can plot them on a date. So we'll go back and change the select from just sentiment score to also get created at as well, so I can get that date. Okay, cool. So we got that, and then basically, this one's kind of cool. It actually is very simple to render this. Basically, all we have to do is I'm making a line chart, so it's very simple to do it. They have a line chart component. You don't even need an x-axis for it if you don't want, but I did so I can plot it. I have updated at here, but now I think created at is better because you want to see how you felt that day, regardless if you went back and updated it. If you go back and update a journal entry, you're still updating it based off what you felt that day when you originally, made it. So if I made a journal entry today, and then a week later I went back and updated it, I'm not going to update it with what I felt today. I'm going to update it with what, I have a new thought on what I felt when I wrote this. So I think I'm going to change that to created at, not updated at. But we just need to import from recharts a few things. So we need the container, line chart, line, x-axis, and then tooltip to make some really cool tooltips there. So we'll do that. Import from recharts, the responsive container, we got the line, we got the x-axis, we got the tooltip. What else did we need? Line chart. Yeah, that was the last one, line chart. Cool, okay, we got that. From here, we can just return the responsive design or the responsive container like that. We can give it a width of 100% and a height. I can't remember. I think you got to give this a number. No, you can do 100%. Okay, never mind. It's the other ones you got to give a number to. So we got the responsive container here. And then from here, we just want to do line chart. Like so. And the line chart takes a width and a height, which doesn't really matter because it's going to be responsive, but it's just mostly you putting the aspect ratio. So I did a width of 300, a height of 100. And then this is where you pass in the data. So we'll say data. Data needs to be an array of objects, which entries is, that we'll be passing in. And then now we just say what properties we want to go on what axes and lines, right? So for instance, this line, the main line, we're going to say the data key for that is going to be called sentiment score. So look for an object on this array of data, and for each one of those, this is what's going to create the line, the points in the line. So let's do that. Not link, but line. And we can say data key is sentiment score, like that. Color. Oh, I'm sorry, type. That's what I want. Monotone. What else did I have on there? So the stroke. I'm just gonna copy that stroke color. Actually, I'll just copy all of these. So stroke color, you can put whatever you want. This is some lavender color that GPT gave me. I asked for it. And stroke width is just the thickness of the line. And this dot is just the radius of the circle on which the dots are when you hover over them. The bigger the number, the bigger the circle. Active dot as in when you're hovering over it. We want the x-axis, and we want that to be that key that I talked about. I'm going to put created at instead of updated at. So x-axis, data key, created at, like that. And then the last one is a tooltip that you don't really need, but I think if you hover over a point, it's really nice to see when you made that entry and what your mood was or whatever other information you want to put on that. But by default, the tooltip is gross looking. So I couldn't stand it. I know we didn't do a lot of styling in this one, but this was so bad I couldn't take it. So we're going to make a custom tooltip. And the way we could do that is just do content like this. And then we can pass in a custom component for a custom tooltip. So we'll make that one up here. I'll just say custom tooltip. You can put more than one component in the file if you want, although I don't recommend it. But I think in this case it's fine, seeing how this component is never going to be used anywhere else other than this chart. But because it's not exported, you probably couldn't test it. But that's fine. This thing takes in a couple things. It takes in like payload, I think, label, and something else. Oh, active, whether it's active or not. There we go. Yep. So for this one, I mean, it's subjective. It's just design. So I'm just going to return basically kind of what I had before. I'm actually probably just going to copy most of it because it's mostly just design, and I'll talk about it. Yeah, so I'm only really showing 3 things here. I am going to be showing, where is it at? I put like a little dot in the left. That's the color that the sentiment analysis you get back. I'm going to put the date label. We'll configure that. So whatever date this was created, and then I put the mood. So it looks like I'm getting back everything, the analysis. So we'll have to go back to our query to make sure we get the analysis and not just a sentiment score, like the whole thing. So we'll do that. And then for the analysis itself, we can just get that from the payload. So I'll just say payload equals, or I'm sorry, analysis. Analysis. There we go. Equals payload, which is an array, 0, and then get the payload from that. So that's the analysis. I'm going to format the date string because it's just bad if you don't. And this one's really easy. You can just do .toLocal string. The label itself will be the axis label, which in our case will be the created at. So that'll be the created at time string. Make a new date out of it. And then this is just me saying I want to show the week, year, month, day, hour, and minute. And it'll format that for me. So we got our date label. And I really only want to do this if it's active. So as in you're hovering over it. So I'll say if active, return this. Otherwise, just return null. Don't show anything. Cool. And now we can just go down here and say custom tooltip. Like that. Don't worry about this error. All right. Have our history chart. All we need to do now is bring that in, but before, let's fix this. So before I was only selecting sentiment score. We're actually going to select everything now because we wanted everything. After looking at what I was doing in history chart, I realized we needed everything. We needed the mood, the color, right? We needed the created at. So we'll just select everything. Get rid of that. Select. We have our analysis. Now we can just bring that in. So we'll just say, let's put a div here. This will be like average sentiment. Average, like that. I don't like putting white space in here like this because it's not guaranteed. You might have a tool that like clears it. So if you want like to maintain white space, I just recommend like putting it in the brackets and doing this. And that way it will maintain white space. So I'll do that. And then here's where the chart will go. And that's just going to take in the data, which is the analysis. All right, let's see what we broke. Okay, so I know why it's not rendering. So I don't think it's rendering because this thing doesn't have a height on it, because it has like a height of, it has a height of like full 100%, and right now there is no height. So I'll just put, first you got to put a height on this one, I believe. just gonna say with full height, full. Start with that. That doesn't do it. And then down here, I can just do the same thing. Let's see what happens. Okay, here we go. So this thing says can't render payload. So let's go take a look at what payload is. That's what I thought it was. Guess not. Oh, I think I know why. It's because it only shows a payload if it's active. So you got to move that down to active. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so it's backwards. It's backwards because we want to sort this. Yeah, so we want to say order by, created at, and ascending, or ascending. There we go. There we go. So he started off really bad. Resigned. That was the mood. I've never heard someone describe mood as like, I'm just resigned. I'm just over it. And then content, and then calm. Yeah. And then you can kind of see how that plots over time. So if we go back and add some more, so let's go add some more. Let's go add a new one here. I'm gonna go back to ChatGPT. I'm like, okay, this was cool. But what happened this morning when you woke up? Creates a short entry. I woke up naturally without the need for my alarm.
This has a better character arc than some films I've seen.
I can be like, okay, but what about your friends? What'd you do with your friend? Like, and then it gets crazy. I'm telling you, we'll find some stuff out. Okay, let's do that. Today's dawn was a company. What? Who talks like this? This is so funny. Okay, let's go back. Hey, there we go. So you can see his mood is definitely going up to renewed. From resigned to renewed. That's progress. That's beautiful. I love to see it.